Hello and welcome to another set of turns of Dominion 6. I am the False God. We are playing as Pyrene in our big YouTube game. Trying to turn 44. So, we cast spells with 5 gates. Dark Knowledge, miss. Arcane Probing, miss. Bunch of Blood Slaves. An Assassination Attempt. Our Sorgina are definitely more vulnerable than our Acrobelts to assassination attempts. We do have some extra bodyguards here who are hopefully going to help her out. And so she's fine. Although we always have to click because obviously we're many patches beyond, so you never really know. We lost Dominion. It was Fortune +3, and we got cursed. We patrolled out. That's some more stuff. So this turn, I guess I'll start with getting about our strategic position and how I felt about it at this point in time. So we are now large, but not huge. We ate the better part of one of our neighbors. We shared it with the Ba, who I think at this point has gone to try and put down Bandarlog. I think Bandarlog was on a revenge tour, killing the Abyssian and Agarthan armies. I think Naba has gone to end that, or try to anyway. I guess given that Bandarlog is doing pretty darn well at staying alive with very minimal resources. But that's, so I think our neighbors are, and that, this might be the time where I think very soon after, about now or very soon after this, we're gonna see Zan take a chunk out of Man. He's not trying to declare war. I think he takes like a handful of provinces, maybe 5 or 6, and then just tries to piece him out. Kitson isn't happy about that. Especially, it's a lot of land in this region, like the Phaeacian region, which wasn't as impacted by Asphodel's dominion. So Man was quite unhappy about that. So like they're both slightly busy, but they're also both large enough that if we killed either of them successfully, we would get coalition by the world. And I don't think we're ready to deal with that yet. We could stab Man. That's not unreasonable. We are then allowing Asphodel sort of off the hook, and potentially allowing Asphodel to win the game. Now maybe Asphodel has taken enough of a beating that they wouldn't be able to rally from this position to win the game, and we'd sort of, we'd get a bunch of Man land, they'd get a bunch, but they couldn't use it as effectively, and maybe can't make the Asphodel push. Asphodel, think about it, right, is in some ways a very momentum heavy nation. It's, first of all, it's every part of Asphodel is better than it was in 5, but it still does kill its population to a certain extent. And so it wants to be growing. It wants to be taking people's lands that have income so it can recruit mages and it can recruit Black Centaur. And then when it's very gem based, so it needs to have a lot of land to try and turn those death gems and nature gems into the mages and resources it needs to win the game. Asphalt is very powerful, but I don't know that they're like necessarily set up to win or they don't want to have to try and get to a late game or an ultra late game to win from there. They'd much rather win early. And so maybe they've been stymied enough by this, at this point, 30, something 25, 30 turn conflict that we would be able to outscale them and beat them. Maybe. We could also draw attention to ourselves. While I said that both Naba and Zan are thinking about doing something else or are engaged in it, right? They're both doing it in a very limited capacity. And so we could still be on the menu if we get too large. So my plan is to hopefully, the other one to talk about is Ulm. So Ulm, in my view right now, is kind of like a poison pill. So imagine we take this throne, right, which we're going to try and do this turn. That gives us 2. Ulm has 3. It's 7 to win. So Ulm has a ton of thrones with very little land. So we would very quickly, if we fought Ulm, beat Ulm, we go up to 5 thrones, but have gotten a relatively small amount of land to go with those thrones. And then we're only 2 away from winning. And we have another one on our border, and that person is at war with another major power. So we would definitely be sending off huge alarm bells to everyone. And again, I think that we might get a coalition of Nabazan. And so I think we need to try and stay under the radar enough as we develop our demonic armies that we don't get coalitioned by our neighbors. So at some point we need to attack Ulm. I just don't know when to win the game, right? Our path to winning the game goes through Ulm. They're too small and they have too many thrones for it to be any other way. And the risk we run by not doing it sooner is that somebody else gets to it. However, Ulm is entirely surrounded by Man and Asphodel. And their conflict doesn't seem... on the one hand, I think that Asphodel is perhaps slowly losing, right? We saw them lose Fascia. This is under siege. But there's still a lot of Asphodel left. Here's 880 guys. And so I think that's going to continue. So I think we're going to have other opportunities to try and loot Ulm in the future. And so that's kind of where my head is at in terms of us kind of chilling here. We're going to make Ranger's Boots. I think we're trying to get extra stealth to put on our bard to go try and steal some graphs. Probing, Dark Knowledge. We are going to do some enlivened statues. 5 gates, Ice Devil. We're looking for the Astral Ice Devil. Again, currently, we've got the monkey with Astral 1, and we've got our god, and we have no other Astral. So we'd really like to pick up more Astral. And besides that, it's all blood hunting, summoning, patrolling. I do finally make the pivot to go and get Construction 6 and then Construction 7, which is going to be really nice. Definitely something that needs to happen. Also at Construction 6 is a potential answer to our problems, Forge of the Ancients. So 80 Earth Gems, we have a ton of Earth Gems. All items have their gem cost reduced by 20, and it gives us Master Smith on everything, or +1 Master Smith. So on the one hand, right, all your items being reduced by 20 is great, but you're paying 80 gold or 80 Earth Gems for the privilege. So with that many already spent, right, you need to essentially save 80 Earth Gems from this 20% to be worth it. And so you have to spend, 500 or 400? 400 gems on items for this to pay off if you got it at, minimum, because that 400 would be reduced by 20%, aka 80. And that's doable if you're ready. On the other hand, the main thing this is going to let us do, right, is forge some of those items we otherwise couldn't and sort of break in. So even if we don't fully break even from a gem perspective, we are going to get access to these items we couldn't otherwise forge. And, the longer we have this, the more of a rebate we get on the cast. So that's something we're going to consider, I think. Legions is great. We're also mainly... Golems are great too. Definitely want golems. Those are... Our plan for our late game armies is going to be golems. You got to have one golem minimum every army to do anti-magic. And our minimal astral means that we can otherwise be susceptible to things like magic duel, which the golem is immune to. So we are going to absolutely need a golem for all of our key armies. So that one's a big must. We're going to need to develop enough income for that. But also getting up to Construction 7 to get those research boosters and access to more items. In terms of what we're attacking the throne with, it's the same army. We've got a couple priests, got some wind warriors and a blood rain. It was around. And we're going to try and whack some stuff. And we'll see how that goes. And then... what else? I think that's basically it for this turn. Yeah, I think that should be it. So we'll go ahead and go to the next turn. This was 43, 44. Let's go to 45. Turn 45. You can see somebody does eventually cast Eyes of God, but we've got a little while. And I have to go find those graphs because I don't remember if I did a good job of saving them. Claimed, Zan claimed the outer throne. So we know just at this point that the throne is the one we want. It is the Earth throne. Another bind ice devil, probing, miss. We found one unfound door, miss, well of white water, and then a mineral cave and a glen of verdant greenery. So a lot of extra sites, some misses on sites too. We'll go ahead and watch the throne battle. So we're up against a lot of ethereal, paralyzed shadows and strength stealing, reanimating shades. Somebody steal, yeah, these guys steal strength. And some other mixed stuff. And then there's this freaking guy, the Anunnaki of the Underworld, with a huge number of death paths and death gems. So I put up Blood Rain. It's gonna hopefully try and route some of these and maybe help us HP route the army. You know, the shadows are not like completely immune. They do have a morale, so they are theoretically routable. You know, we've got a little bit of priestly support. So, but there's nothing interesting happening. We're just gonna run into this line. And what we're gonna find out here is that we have huge problems and we are not going to win, and we're gonna lose a bunch of stuff. And it's very bad. This is not exactly how the real battle went. We lost our real battle. We didn't route like that. We lost all of our sacreds. We killed most of the stuff on the throne. It's a lot of the stuff on the throne, but we lost all of our sacreds. It was real bad. It was real bad. We're going to need to go into a little bit of crisis mode on resummoning armies so that we do not look like food. Now, some of our neighbors are busy, and some of our neighbors have similar problems to us, right? Nabah doesn't want to get too big, or they'll get coalitioned. Zan, good. I mean, he could get coalition. He could maybe get away with it. Although I think, again, at this point, he was busy. Man attacks Asphodel and wins. Asphodel's like mans and wins. And we get some miscellaneous gems. So yeah, catastrophically bad. And I know at this point that Man saw this. I know Nabah saw this. I don't know. Often people, you know, most people have a scout on thrones, or at least lots of people have scouts on thrones. So I don't know who else saw it, but we kind of have to operate like all of our neighbors saw it. And yeah, so we're gonna start. We're gonna start recruiting a few more troops there. I don't remember. Maybe that's the only things we start doing. We're gonna start recruiting a bunch of priests to go and try and finish this off. We are making more. We're gonna make more statues as additional infantry. So that was real bad. That is a significant problem for us. Now, like I said, those troops were on the downslope as far as usefulness goes, but they were certainly not at the bottom. And terribly bad outcome. This was totally preventable too. We could have sent a lot more mages. We could have sent a lot more priests. There are a lot of things that we could have. I just didn't give this throne any respect, and that's not good. You gotta respect stuff. We probably could have super combatanted this throne, to be perfectly honest. You know, maybe that Anunnaki would be tricky, but there were so many things that we could have done that could have made this work out better. So that is just a terrible blunder, and we're gonna see if it costs us. We have tons of stuff still, but that was most of our quality stuff. You know, how many do we have left on the payroll, right? We lost 84, and we have 63 left. So we lost about half, more than half. We lost like 60%. So catastrophically bad. Making another ice devil here is greedy AF and was not a good idea, especially in with this happening. We should be pushing more slaves to Vigil of the Five Gates. Because you might need those demons sooner rather than later. These demon knights are going to be very helpful for us, as well as the rest of the demons, storm demons, etc. So that was really bad. More probing, more knowledge, more statues. And we're gonna hope that we have a nap, so we'll know in advance, unless he's gonna nap break me. I mean, I have a nap with everybody, so we don't necessarily need to full-on panic. I even have a nap with Ulm. I actually don't have a nap with Man, but I think he's still too busy. And we could, I think that he would still have some problems trying to deal with us. But tremendous, I don't like looking at this. Let's go to the next turn. Tremendously bad turn. Not a good time for Pyrene. All right, miss. Well, let's see. Did we get the right Ice Devil? We did. So we did get an Astral 2. So for now, he can go with our armies. He's also another, a Water Mage. He's going to move. This guy is summoning allies. I think I eventually decided that is not worth it. He's basically going to make one of these Frost Fiends, I believe, per turn. I guess it doesn't say. I think it's a Frost Fiend. And they're fine. But like we're in a little bit of heat, so they're worse because they have cold power. They're just not as good as some of the others. But I think I eventually determined that he should be outside searching too. Yeah, more site searching. You can see we did eventually move our monkey home, or our monkey to a more secure location. We need to get gold together to get a throne on this, although at this point we probably won't. We'll just wait for Blood 8 and do 3 red seconds. We're 1 turn away from finishing construction, 7, and then we're going into Blood 8. Blood 8 giving us access to lots of good stuff. Rush of Strength, tremendous buff. Life for Life, Infernal Prison, and Claws of Kokotos. More Infernal Prison than Claws of Kokotos give us very good answers to super combatants and thugs. At time of recording, or at time of playing, the what's it called? The range boosting item, not the blood one, but the general one, was bugged and gave too much range. And so you could hit the whole field with the like Claws of Kokotos or Infernal Prison. There was nowhere to hide. If you positioned just off the front and gave the blood boosting range item as well, I believe you were in range of the whole battlefield. I think that's been fixed, but I can't remember. I know I reported it as a bug, so hope it's been fixed. Werewolves killing some Asphodel stuff. Asphodel killing 1 PD. Man killing 1 PD. Man with some Draconians killing slightly more than 1 PD. Asphodel attacked Man but lost, as there were 46 Knights of Avalon. He did kill 1. And we patrolled out another scout. Cheeky Olm keeps sending scouts at us. So yeah, we're kind of reeling a bit from our disaster. We're gonna keep making more Emerald Knights to try and get out of this. Probing statue. Oh, I got distracted from my blood point. The other thing, of course, is 3 red seconds and blood vortex. So 3 red seconds, super helpful, right? It's gonna let us forward up these thrones when we eventually get them, and the one we already have. Blood vortex is tremendously useful. That's gonna generate a lot of blood slaves. It generates more blood slaves the higher the population is that you cast it on. And so we've had growth 4 going in Pyrene for a large percentage of the game. So it's over 50k. So that 3 red seconds, or again, that blood vortex is going to produce a lot of blood slaves. So that's really great. The Heliophagus are also good. They're going to give us high death blood, which we can use to make vampires if we want them. Vampires are nerfed from Dominions 5. They cost more. But having, an immortal rating option can be very valuable. It depends on who we're fighting. Against people who don't have a lot of astral access, those immortals can be a huge pain. Against people with access to a lot of Mind Hunt or very, very potent Mind Hunt, it's a lot less good. So that's something we need to consider before we just deploy a bunch of vampires. Also, our vampires are, of course, going to contest with our ability to do things like cast 3 red gates, or Ritual of 5 gates. But it's out there. I don't think I mentioned, Purified Blood is actually still Poison Resistance 10. Serpent's Blessing is now only 5, and so we have access to this. So we are set against poison, which is quite nice. Let's see. Yeah, probing. Doing another Archdevil, probing. Fecundity on Jotunheim. So we're kind of nobody ended their nap with us, so we're kind of on the assumption that they're not going to from our little foible, and we're gonna re-equip. We're gonna recruit a bunch of priests, and look to go from there and take this back, or take it for the first time. But we're going to try and put these guys in the front line because they're going to be immune to all of the shadow stuff, basically. So we're going to try and be a little smarter next time and give it the respect it deserves. But yeah, besides that, I think we're done. Should be done with this episode. We've continued to greed through disaster. And we're going to see if that works out for us. We'll see. But thanks, everyone, for joining me. Hope to see you all in the next one, and have a great day.